So this is my answer to evaluation question 1 for my A2 media coursework. The question is, in what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? If you look at my coursework, as you can see from this beginning sequence, it challenges the normal conventions of music videos because it has a movie introduction which is not conventionally used in a music video narrative. In a music video narrative, you expect it to be just bands and their storyline, but I wanted to make it so it had a really strong silent film style theme, so it would mix with the song, and therefore adding the effects over the narrative of the cops and robbers, and the beginning and introduction, and having the end title sequence at the back, at the end of my music video, all challenges forms and conventions of music videos because it's something which you would not normally see on Kerrang in a music video for normal pop bands. Furthermore, it also challenges silent film style movies because they usually have a gentle piano in the background or something for sound, if any sound at all, and this has a pop song over it. So not only is it challenging the conventions of a music video by having silent film in it, it's challenging the conventions of silent film by having music in the genre written over it. But you can also see, if I go back, that there is I've also conformed to the conventions of music videos because I have switched from the silent film narrative to performance of the band, and it's very typical in pop bands such as or rock bands, which is kind of similar genre, to see the band acting and performing. For example, in Foo Fighters, they do lots of their own narratives as the actor, as I think it gives the band more of an identity to the audience. So I decided to conform to that to try and give my music video as much character and as much identity to the band as I could, because it's such a fun song and I really wanted to portray that through the band, because in real life the Hoosiers are fun and they're funny and they're comedic, and I wanted to try and keep that character trait and conform to that. And also, to make sure you could tell it's a music video, I had to conform to having the performance elements because otherwise it would just be unrecognisable. It might just seem a bit kind of odd rather than actually hit what the characteristics you need for a consumer to think, oh, that's a music video for that song. I also, in my planning, I said that I'd have the band performing in their costumes, which would be to try and develop that area, to try and develop that convention of music videos of having the split narrative and performance. I thought I'd have them still performing as their characters but as the band, but when I tried it out, it didn't supply enough of a contrast. I think it kind of made the music video a bit less versatile and a bit less interesting or captivating, and because the band were then playing their characters all the time, it took away kind of the image of the band I wanted to give, because it all seemed a bit false and pretense. So I decided to have them in their own clothes. I also, if you can see, try to use lots of dynamic camera shots and a mixture of long and short, which both uses conventions because music videos stereotypically have lots of short shots, as what's playing at the moment, but then I also, for the silent film bits like this shot, have more longer shots to try and fit both categories. And in my performance element, I definitely use more short shots to try and use that convention to its advantage to make it seem as much of a music video as I possibly can. I also use the classic props, which you can see here, such as the instruments, to make it obvious. And I think I developed this by having the producer, as you just saw, in the studio actually doing the kind of post-production bit alongside the band. And it adds more depth to the video by developing this performance element, because it adds a dual character, because it's he's controlling them in the music video, in the narrative, as he's the cop and he's chasing them because they've stolen something. But then this can also be applied to the music industry and how the producers try and control their bands, and how and this video kind of in a deeper meaning could suggest how the bands break free of that by being individual and by being funny and by breaking the boundaries. So that is another way I used and developed at the same time some of the conventions. I also think the black and white lighting, which is carried across into my ancillary products, definitely challenges the conventions of normal lighting in music videos, because you expect music videos to be lots of colour, lots of dancing, lots of bright lights, and in mine there isn't really any of that. There's natural lighting for the studio part, and then there's post-productive black and white lighting for the narrative, which is not what you normally expect. And I think even though it's less eye-catching stereotypically due to the product, it makes it more interesting and intrigues people more because people don't normally do it. And I chose not to do dancing because have women, because I think in these pop videos one of the main conventions is to have lots of girls which are objectified, and I wanted to steer clear of that. I wanted to keep the identity to my band and not have anything distracting them, so they're the sole focus for the audience, and therefore advertising their song better because there's no distractions. And also I think I developed conventions because in songs, obviously one of the most important aspects is the lyrics. That's what people kind of get behind, is what makes people fall in love with the music 90% of the time. And with this product that I've created, I wanted the entire focus to be on the lyrics. That's why they're dressed as cops and robbers. The song's called Cops and Robbers. It's used multiple times in the chorus. I just think that develops the normal emphasis people put on the lyrics in a song, because they usually just have the band sing them and let people connect to themselves, but I try to bring it more forward than that, so you can actually identify with the lyrics through an image, so it has a stronger meaning. I also challenged the conventions going back to the silent film style, because I made the screen smaller, so it was kind of like you're in a cinema. I wanted people to feel like when they were watching the music video that they were there watching a silent film, for like the parts where it was suited. So I made the screen smaller to give the impression that you're at a cinema. I think I managed to create a music video with the normal conventions, as well as challenge and develop them into the idea that I had.